The White Lotus Season 3, Episode 5, Full Moon Party is a masterpiece in terms of chaos and tension and anxiety. I have not been that uncomfortable watching something slowly build and come to a head since I watched Uncut Gems. The type of movie where you're sitting there on the edge of your seat, you got white knuckles, you're screaming, you realize you've been tense the whole time because the entire thing is just building up to you going, what the fuck are you people doing? This is going to be such a bad situation. And that's where we are headed for everyone in this cast. There are some unforgettable moments, some point of no return moments, and some moments where we continue to build towards this enormous end, which I think will be one of the more satisfying payoffs. Let's go to our trusty flowchart where we go through everybody in White Lotus each and every episode. We begin with the craziest part of all, the thing that has been building this entire season that everybody has kind of been going like, are they going to do it? Is that what's happening here? Are we really doing gay incest between these brothers? And they fucking did it. At the full moon party, Saxon and Lachlan pop some pills, party with Chloe and Chelsea, and they do the old classic, we kiss, now you kiss. And usually there's like some sort of gay undertones with that. Usually it's guys and girls. It's ordinarily not fucking brothers, okay? But Lockie leans in for the kiss on Saxon, gives him a little peck, gives him a little Tom Brady, then goes in for a little more and lingers with the kiss. Saxon all fucked up, shaking his head like, did that really just happen? And they actually did it. It really just happened, both in the storyline and in real life. Patrick Schwarzenegger and whoever that fucking actor is make out with each other in a storyline that I just, in the one regard, it's very obvious. And it was like, yeah, that's what we've been laying on pretty fucking thick this whole season. And on the other hand, I'm like, I can't believe they actually did it. So, you know, you can call that shocking or completely predictable in that storyline. And that's actually a pretty cool thing that I feel like you don't often feel in television, where there are some people probably saying, yeah, no fucking kidding. And there's a bunch of people saying, holy shit. But they did it. And I'm watching my screen like, be like, this is it. If it's going to go down, it's going to go down tonight. The foursome, partying, full moon party in Thailand, popping pills. Like, this is the moment where it would happen. And we leave off like we don't know what else unfolded the rest of that night. But Lachlan and Saxon finally do a little kissy kiss. And that party, that entire scene where they slowly get more fucked up and then they take the drugs, and then there's like the fire and the jump rope and things are burning, and it's neon lights, and it's like just blurry and chaotic, and it just gets like, just keeps on building. And the whole time I'm watching it going, this is not going to go well. All of it, the whole episode, you have Lachlan, Chelsea, Chloe, and Saxon partying, getting fucked up, doing drugs. On the other side, you have the white girls partying with Valentine and all of his Russian friends. And from the jump, those two storylines kind of mirroring each other and building upon each other. And I was going, this is not going to end well for anybody involved. You got Jacqueline dancing up on Valentine, and she's eyeing some girls, being like, yeah, that's right, I'm dancing with your fucking man. I don't care. She's so hell-bent on being young and partying and sexy that she doesn't give a fuck about the repercussions. And you got Lori, my girl Carrie Coon, popping the top, going tits out for the boys, skinny dipping in the pool. At one point, I was like, I'm pretty sure Lori's about to get double teamed by these crazy fucking Russians. Of course, we fulfill our White Lotus quota of new dick. This time, it's some weird Russian guy doing the old flopping back and forth, like as his dick just whacks between his legs. I thought there was maybe going to be an assault in there. I thought there was maybe going to be a threesome in there, a fight. I didn't know what to expect, but the two parties just slowly building on each other had me as tense as can be. You sprinkle in Timothy Ratliff, who continues on his, slow descent into madness. For my liking, we've milked this emotion from him for like 3 straight episodes, maybe 4. Where it just keeps going. I mean, how many times has he laid down in bed and like stared while Victoria's next to him? Like, we've done that like 3 episodes in a row, and I get it, and that's probably going to be the focal point of this big payoff, because he's the one with the gun, and he's the one who's losing everything, and I think he's going to be heavily involved in like the big massacre. But you know, we get it. The pacing on that storyline, I think they started that a bit too early, and they're letting it linger a bit too long. But you sprinkle in that chaos where he's got the gun. We finish off with him writing the note, and he almost pulls the trigger. You know, we have Belinda not confessing, but confiding in Poor Chai that, you know, Gary is this murderer, and she doesn't know what to do. Fabian blows her off. Fabian's like, don't give a fuck. We don't talk about our guests that way. We let them do, you know, whatever they need. Pipe down. And then drops one of the most ominous lines in a White Lotus season ever. You'll be fine. You'll survive. It's like, well, I don't know if you're going to survive after someone says that. So between her finally putting her chips on the table with Gary Gregg being a murderer, Timothy almost killing himself, Guy Tok, who is the worst security guard of all time. I mean, nobody has ever been worse at their job than Guy Tok, trying to track down the gun. Even that part of his job is bad. Confront that guy, like, give me the fucking gun back or we're going to have problems. So he's all tense and nervous. Timothy almost committing suicide. Pornchai and Belinda having their weird sexual tension. The fucking lizard running around in the room. You're like, is it Gary? What's going on? Truly, everything was just a masterpiece in tension and anxiety. Now, White Lotus is a weird show. I think you either love it or you don't. I don't think there's many in between. I might actually be one of the only people. Like, if I was not doing this for content and making videos and invested in it that way, where I'm really watching it to think about the symbolism and all that, I don't know if I would enjoy it as much. I know more people who are more like me, who are just casual TV watchers, when they put it on, they are like, this show stinks. It's so fucking weird. It's so slow. I don't like it. I think you're either into this show or you are not. And if you are into it, I think this was, as good of an episode as you can get, while, still that slow burn going on and the chaotic energy, which to me, there's the 2 main culminations are the brother kiss and the conversation between Rick and his buddy, played by Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell, who I, for probably 3/4 of my life, thought he was Edward Norton, and vice versa. He joins the show as this friend in Bangkok who gets Rick the gun that we assume he's going to use on his father's murderer. And I would say that was the other part of the episode that was just kind of the culmination of just the weirdness and the like, what the fuck factor of White Lotus season 3, telling the story of how he is this sex addict who loved Asian girls and then started loving ladyboys and then loved ladyboys fucking him and then turned that into gay sex as he dressed up in lingerie and perfume and high heels, and he liked to get fucked by the guys, multiple men per night, because he was becoming the ladyboy and Asian girls that he coveted so badly before he realized that he was before he needed to separate his soul from his physical body, and that's where he found Buddha and eventually gave up, all vices, sex, booze, drugs, and now he's sipping his chamomile tea, saying, I took the partying as far as I possibly could before I found Buddha and enlightenment. Kind of mirroring, I believe, the journey that Piper is trying to go on. Piper is trying to live that life while probably not having gone to the lengths that Sam Rockwell did. It does not sound like she's, hit rock bottom. I saw some theories that people thought she was going to be pregnant, and that's why she wanted to go away for a year, and all of these things that, maybe Piper is not as innocent and is a little more crazy. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like she really is just a wholesome girl who does not fit in her family and doesn't fit in the modern world, trying to find her way. And that concept of splitting your soul from your physical body is the journey that Piper is trying to go on, is the one that Sam Rockwell's character just did after, the most lascivious, gratuitous, over-the-top lifestyle, realizing that was not fulfilling and not satisfying him in any way. And so those were the 2 moments that I was sitting back going, White Lotus is fucking crazy, man. I got Russian dick. I got this guy getting fucked by ladyboys. I've got these brothers kissing, and this other dude almost blew his goddamn head off. Side note for you, Sam Rockwell in real life dating Leslie Bibb, who plays Katie, who was kind of the only voice of reason in this episode. While the 3 white girls are partying with the Russians, she's like, from the jump, when those girls come up to the table, when the partying's going on too long, when they coming back to the villa, and then Lori getting naked, all of those steps along the way, Katie is like, we need to shut it down. We need to shut it down. And Jacqueline is like the devil on the shoulder. Lori is kind of this lost girl who's like, whatever, I am just down to feel and exist and live right now. And Katie's the one going, we don't want to fight these random fucking Russian girls. We don't want to invite these strange men back to our villa. We don't want to fuck them. This is all bad news. And she seems to be the only one in this episode, really, that was, trying to calm things down. I would say that her and Chelsea are kind of the only people, trying to help keep everyone on the straight and narrow. The other side, you have Chloe, who is giving out the drugs, who I think is, either a hooker or just a very manipulative woman, who I think, is now, she has the young Ratliff boys in her crosshairs. I think she is in on some sort of plot to fuck with those guys. I also think that Ook is playing guy talk like a fiddle. I think she's going to be in on the robbery. I've said that before. I think Guy Talk is completely like off his game because he's so obsessed with her. That's why he's losing the gun, and that's why he's not doing a good job. I think that she is kind of luring him away and always distracting him so that he can't do his job at the front gate. So we'll see if the conversation that Sam Rockwell has with Rick affects him at all. Walton Goggins is kind of like, great fucking story, dude. I don't know what to say to that, but gives him the bag and says, I hope you don't have to use that. Tells the story about, not letting your vices and your emotions, get the best of you and living a peaceful, harmonious life. So Rick has kind of been open to those things. You can tell that Amrita and the therapy and meditation he's doing is kind of getting through, but he usually plows through that and, continues on with his, shitty disposition and, continuing on this like revenge path. Tanya, Belinda has done, pretty much all she can now, laying things out there with Greg and with Greg Gary. She hops into bed with Porn Chai. We don't know where that goes, but really just a great episode that I almost think had like penultimate energy. If that was like episode 7 and we head into episode 8 with the big murder and payoff going on, that would have made sense to me. That pacing would have played out. The fact that this is only episode 5, that means we have 6, 7, and then the finale, feels like I don't even know where we go from here in between. I mean, that's 2 more hours before we get to the big payoff. And that to me felt like we went right to the edge of the cliff before jumping over. We're left with Jacqueline letting Valentine into the villa, leaving the door wide open so she can get her rocks off. That felt like a stupid move, and she's, acting way too erratic and reckless. And we don't know what ended up happening with Lachlan and Saxon. I swear to God, if that storyline finishes and those two just straight up fuck, Mike White is off his goddamn rocker. Mike White has just proven he's going to do weird gay stuff and a lot of dick. That's what he does. But even by his standards and White Lotus standards, Lachlan and Saxon, if they end up taking it further than that Tom Brady type kissing, it's just absolutely bananas. So, you can't go back on that one, You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. You see your brother at Christmas, at New Year's, at Thanksgiving. Hey, maybe New Year's is actually good. Maybe he can be your midnight kiss. But every single time you get together with your brother, you go, time in Thailand, or you pop those pills, and I took a pill in Ibiza and kissed my brother. That one you can't take back. And to finish off with Timothy Ratliff basically pouring his heart out, being like, do you know how much pressure there is on me? And praying to God, please tell me what to do, as he was on the verge of suicide. Everything is right there on the precipice of being absolutely bonkers. So I think if you're a White Lotus fan, this episode really did it for you, really moved the needle, and really sets us up for the final 3 hours of this season, which I'm hoping is going to lead to a big and solid payoff. So we'll see you next week for another recap on the watch list.